According to Shift, it appears one of the football's world's megastars will be trading in his cleats for a controller. Per sources, Mezzi was recently tried out by G2 Esports roster. Sounds like the boys over at Shift are a little bored. Jokes aside, Mezzi is going from Barcelona to PSG, so that's pretty cool. But today's video, we're actually going to talk about real RLCS roster rumors and actually stop some from spreading because we reached out to the source directly. What's up, everybody? Lawler here, inside source for all things Rocket League. Going to be talking about roster rumors, confirmations. A lot of things we've been thinking about have come to fruition, so we have the full details. So we're going to be talking about those all in detail today. Also, before we get into everything, we are exactly 11,600 subs away from hitting 50K, which is our goal by the end of the year. So if we want to do that as a collective, we got to average about 2,000 to 3,000 every single month, which we are nowhere near. So I am begging you guys, if you have yet to sub, there's like a good 67% of you that haven't, hit the subscribe button down below. It helps me out greatly. But with that said, let's get into the actual roster news. First things first, Sandrock Gaming. There was a lot of speculation about who their third was going to be. In the previous video we did roster changes, we talked about how Senzo is now coming back and is going to be their sub. But they have officially announced their new third. It is official. The one we assumed that was going to be happening in TRK is official. I will say most recently in the tournament that they did play, it did not look all too great, but that is to be expected with a new roster.
Created a few cracks in the Sandrock defense.
Just a couple of them so far here, but a few cracks might not be enough to break the armor, especially when Ahmed can do stuff like that. Dude, it's just been a highlight reel from this guy all day here. If you let him get a touch into the backboard, he's going to sink it into your net without hesitation.
These guys are going to take some time and some getting used to each other, and I do not expect them to have the same level of success as a team and teammates that have been playing together for a long period of time. With Senzo coming back as a substitute, very likely he is not going to get any playing time, but the whole purpose is more so there as a worst case scenario. Senzo to me is one of the few players, and I've said this in the past, that when I watch his perspective, where I'm like, man, that guy's fast. And even though he's having internet issues and other issues, still being in association in some capacity, I think is a good idea for him. So he is there as a worst case scenario as a backup. He can still obviously compete, but he is choosing to step aside. It's also like one of the shortest retirements I've ever seen. So after less than a month or something like that, he's back, which I'm okay with. It will be Alpine and TRK. This one is going to take some time, I think, to get used to. I don't think this one's going to have the immediate success that Sandrock had in the past. But TRK is an extremely talented player. I don't think there's any arguing that. So something to pay attention to. I really do hope Sandrock gets the opportunity to compete, whether it be in Europe, whether it be by Psyonix opening up the Middle East to competing in Europe, their owner in Civic moving them to Europe, or something else. I will say also that some of the players from this roster tried out, I'm pretty sure, for I think it was Dignitas, but their parental figures did not want them to move. So we could have possibly seen Ocalid or Ahmad or something to that extent actually go play in EU RLCS for one of the top dogs. But again, there's certain things that come into play. One of the downfalls of us having a little bit of a younger scene. Either way, it was a big opportunity, and unfortunately, there's no guarantee that it even would have worked out in the first place. So unfortunate, and hopefully there is some sort of alternative that does happen for the Middle East teams, because after 5 years, I know some of them are getting frustrated because there doesn't seem to be an option in sight. Up next, and this is one that we have to stomp, there's been a lot of talks on the subreddit about how Alpine, which this is confirmed, as you can see by the tweet that I was showing on your screen, that we didn't sign Mezzi, but they did sign their new third today. So Alpine has officially figured out who their new third player is going to be. Coincidentally, someone did see that Wondamike, who used to have LFT in his name, is no longer LFT. So they were like, yeah, you know, happy coincidence. Maybe it is Wondamike going to Alpine. And this conversation started to spiral out of control and snowball, pick up some momentum, other words that mean carrying weight and spreading. But overall, it is the fact that Wondamike, I reached out to him. I was like, yo, are congratulations in order? Is this actually a thing? Is this what's happening? And he said, no, he is not. He has confirmation, says he's still looking. He just wanted to take out LFT. So I asked him if it was okay to put this out and say it. So directly from Wondamike, you can quote me on this. He is not with Alpine. I want to stop this rumor before it spreads more than it already has. But it's also unfortunate because I do think Wondamike is a fantastic player. I also appreciate him being willing to respond and tell me the specifics, but I just don't know where he's going to end up. I really don't. I think he's a very talented player and was a talented player as a free agent last season and still hasn't really solidified himself towards the top in a roster that I think has a chance to perform. So I'm curious on where he's going to go. Either way, he still is LFT. So if anybody is looking for an up-and-comer or one that has some actual working experience in the RLCS, hit him up. He's a very talented player still looking for a team, even though his Twitter does not say that he is LFT anymore. Keep that in mind. Alpine and Wondamike, not happening. Up next, we had a ton of things that we were assuming over in the South American region for good reason, based upon the way things were pointing, but this one is going to take a couple steps. The first one, the roster of Rebel with the Stromic, Snips, and Jan are no longer Rebel. They are completely gone from that. Rebel has let go of their roster. So it is a Stromic, Snip, and Jan. Shortly after, Jan put out a tweet referencing with a quote tweet saying, "That said, I announced my departure from the lineup. I appreciate the 9 months of achievements and laughs. I love you guys. News coming soon." So it is as assumed that Jan is probably going elsewhere, which I'll talk about here in a second. On the other side of things, it does showcase, well, what's going on with former Rebel. Astromic and Snip still need a new player, and there was a lot of conversation about how Math, previously known kind of as one of the better ones in the region, trying to get back into that top tier roster, trying to find a place where he fits. And we did get that. Shortly after, Astromic did announce that they are now going to be known as Team Luxury, and Math is a part of that. Math is going to be their new third. So all the things that we were hearing rumors about or assuming, or based upon where we're going to plug and play people, that Jan is most likely going to Furia, and the fact that Math is kind of the next man up is what it felt like was going to come over. And he has. It's just they're under a new name. So Team Luxury, former Rebel, is now with Stromic, Snip, and Math. And then we have Jan, who is without a doubt probably going to Furia. I think he is the most sought after player right now in the region. And he is moving to the top dogs of South America now that True Neutral has gone to North America. It's a really big opportunity, I think, for South America to try to restructure some things, even though South America does tend to change names, rosters, and everything else on a very, very regular basis, which I don't think necessarily helps them. But either way, I do think both these teams can be extremely competitive, but I'm going to be giving my nod to Furia as undoubtedly the number one in South America for the foreseeable future if things stay the same. That's going to do it for this video of your RLCS roster news. If you guys have any additional questions, comments, concerns, as always, drop them in the comments down below, and I'll try to use some of those as well if you do have questions in my upcoming Sunday Q&A. Other than that, if you guys do enjoy the content, as a reiteration, trying to hit 3,000 subs a month, which we are definitely shy of. If you guys could, give the video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content, hit subscribe, and make sure you turn on notifications, and we'll hope to see you in the next one. Peace.